Hi guys, Luca here from Sabre Airsoft, back again with the VMP2D. I've had a chance to actually play with this in the field now, and my opinion is that it's good, but it could be better. Let me explain. So, I ran this with the AirTac VMP1 HPA adapter, which, because of the weather and how cold it was, I just didn't want to have to deal with my mags gassing out on me. There's a number of things I could have done to ensure that they didn't, but I wanted to go ham on this thing and really put it through its paces, and also do things that most people are probably going to do. I imagine quite a lot of people are going to get the new AirTac VMP2 adapter when that comes out, which I'm told is very, very soon. Hope I should have one of those with me on the channel soon as well. So I wanted to put it through its paces without having to deal with gassing out issues, which people have reported has been happening. And there's a few reasons that's been happening. I did show on one of my shorts, one of the reasons was that the knocker valve, the knocker arm, sorry, which is this part in here, I did show that that sometimes fails to retract if the bolt does not press at the right spot, such as there. You can see it's not fully retracted, but if you send it forward at a sufficient speed, it should retract. I didn't experience that problem myself. If that was going to happen to me, it would have happened during the day, and it would have just started throwing air out everywhere, which it didn't. So that didn't happen to me. I did, however, experience a gas out with the gas mags whilst testing in my garage, but that was short-lived. It seems that the more I've used this, the less that sort of things happen. So there's some bedding in there. Another thing that did happen, which I wasn't happy about, was the accuracy at range. Bear in mind that this was hitting out to approximately 80 meters quite easily on 0.32s at 1.9 joules. The range wasn't a problem. In fact, I would say that the stock hop-up bucking that it comes with is pretty good as far as achieving range goes. But the inner barrel unthreaded itself during the day. I noticed that my accuracy was getting worse and worse as the third morning went on. So I thought I'd swap out the bucking for one of the Quantum High Friction Pros and see if that helped improve things. And as I was taking it apart, I noticed that the barrel had almost completely come out. So I had to thread lock that. And in doing so, I noticed that in the inner barrel, there's actually quite a bit of a gap between the two sections inside the barrel, which is probably what's causing a lot of the inaccuracy. As what that's going to do is, as the BB travels down the barrel, you're going to find that it's creating a differential in pressure, sort of sudden decrease and increase, and that's going to affect the trajectory. The Magnus effect is a very fickle thing. So I've got a new barrel coming along, a new type bore maple leaf barrel, so it's only going to be a 0.1 mil tighter, because it is a 6.03 that this comes with. I'm very annoyed at the fact that gas blowback barrels are so much more expensive than AEG, as the difference is just the cutout. One has a bridge, one doesn't, and the slots are at slightly different positions as well. It is kind of a rip-off of that. You have to spend so much more, but it is what it is. So hopefully that will improve the accuracy. Shooting experience wise, the trigger was great. I did find I knocked this into safe quite regularly, whereby I'd be shooting for a little bit, and then as I was pulling my finger out, I might have just been doing it by instinct, but I would just knock it into safe quite a few times. I'd go to take another shot, suddenly I can't. So that was something I noticed with the ergonomics. The grip, I did try swapping out for this grip. It went on there absolutely fine. This is a PTS grip. But I would say if you're going to get a grip, get one that's got the tail at the back, because the 90-degree interface here is not comfortable. And it started to hurt my wrist, so I swapped back to the 1911 grip. As far as issue goes, I think that's about it that I've heard off the top of my head. I can't quite recall many others. There's a lot of people asking questions about parts compatibility, etc. Oh, no, there is one other thing that did happen. I noticed that as I was shooting through the day, my shots were either underhopping or overhopping, and I was having to adjust the hop a lot. And that's when I noticed that there's actually quite a lot of backlash in this hop up. As you can see, there's no clicks happening right now, and I've got all that travel. That travel is enough that I can underhop and then overhop. So that there is a flaw. I have an idea of how to fix that, and that's to try sticking an O-ring underneath. My original idea was an O-ring. Someone also suggested a spring of some kind. I'm not sure I've got any springs that would actually work. So I'm going to try with this O-ring. It's a 2.5mm thick O-ring. Not sure on what the diameter is. I'm just going to see if that makes it so that it doesn't just slide around all the time. And go into the maximum, and then I'm going to back it off by 6 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, that has now stopped that movement. So my suggestion for an immediate fix is to stick an O-ring of about 2.5mm thickness underneath your hop-up adjustment wheel. And that should hopefully remove that backlash and keep at least your elevation changes consistent, or more consistent. The hop chamber I do plan on doing a redesign of, and hopefully I'll be able to get something out in the next month or so, but I don't know right now, because the only thing that really needs to change is that it needs to go from a circular window where the TDC makes contact with the rubber and become square. The reason we should have it square is so that we can then have an insert which can hold a nub, so it can apply more even pressure across the surface of the BB rather than just at the very single point. TDC is still better than a lot of other methods of applying that pressure, but it's not perfect unless you've got some kind of a concave patch, or even just any kind of a more wide flat area patch. So that's what's going on with that. I think for the price point, this one is 290 retail, there or thereabouts, the D variant. I'd say it is quite a competitive little bit of kit. It is long. The D variant is definitely long, and so is the MD. I did feel that as I was walking along with it. But I would say if you've already got VMP1, this is definitely worth your money, because you've already got the mags for it then. You're not going to be buying into a whole new ecosystem. Like, say you were buying like an MWS, you'd have to buy MWS mags. Or if you were bought a Toxican MCX, you end up building this big repertoire of very expensive mags if you want to have different platforms. Whereas with the VMP series, it's all the same mag. So that is a definite advantage there. So if you've got VMP1, this is worth your time. I think there are a couple of teething issues, and I'm going to try and work my way through and provide quick fixes, and try and work with Vorsk as well to provide more permanent fixes moving on. Anyone who says that it's rubbish because it's got these teething issues, all I have to say is, do you consider the VFC HK416V3 to be rubbish? Because if you do, fair. But if you don't, why do you think it's got a V3 on there? Because they've had to go through 3 iterations to get to that point. And they released them, and they were rubbish. Most gas blowbacks have issues out of the box, and you have to correct them. MWSs, to make them really, really good, and to make them the golden child that they are, you have to usually change a few parts. So they're not perfect. This isn't perfect. And it is cheap. And it is made almost entirely of plastic and aluminium. But if you're the kind of person who can afford an MWS, this isn't for you anyway. This is for the people who are just getting into gas blowbacks. And the people who don't want to spend or can't spend the silly amounts of money that you can and do spend on the higher end stuff. This is a budget option. Treat it like a budget option. Anyway, that's it for this review. I'm going to go through and see what other ideas I can come up with on how to solve some of the niggling issues. I hope that helps you make your decisions on whether or not you want to purchase one of these. It's not as bad of a launch as what the VMP1 was, and getting parts for this is going to be super easy, because any retailer who's selling it can also get any part for it, because all parts are available, which is brilliant. Trust me, I have tried, like, the only other company that I well, the only other brand, sorry, that I can actually get any part for almost is WE, but that has to come all the way from Hong Kong. This is a British company, and you can get them in a very short space of time for a very affordable price. So that's a win in my book. I like this. I'm going to play with it some more over the coming weeks and hopefully redesign the hop-up chamber to really make it good. Anyway, that's it. Catch you on the next one.